Sixth graders, wow, you are almost on your way out of grammar, and this is the last month or few weeks of doing music with grammar. So, boy, I am excited to give you some important facts that you need to know for secondary choir. You won't always be talking about key signatures. Yes, that is true. But you will be always having to figure them out when you're looking at key signatures. So, or looking at any new music. So I hope that this is something you can commit to memory. Go ahead and grab your notes. If you don't have them with you, you can put me on pause and go get them. All right, let's review. Today we're going to go through what we talked about last week about our three rules, our flat rule, and what's the key of C, what's the key of F, and today we're going to talk about the sharp rule. So we're going to review how to write them in the key signature, and we're going to go through again those important rules about what key signatures are. So let's get started. First of all, key signatures, where are they located? Between the clef and the time signature. So I drew in a time signature here so you can see. And we have two different keys that we are going to write here too. So the order that they are written in is going to be from, remember, left to right, okay? Also remember that there can be as many as how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 sharps or flats at one time. You can have as many as 7, that is right. Do altered tones belong in key signatures? No, they don't. And there is a certain order and, what's the other word? Location for where they go. Okay, let me see if I've forgotten any other tips about it. The key signature represents a specific scale, remember? And I think that is about it. So let's write down the order of sharps and flats before we start doing the key of D and the key of B. So what are the order of sharps and flats? There's 7 letters, and it spells something usually, at least in part. Hopefully you are saying B, E, A, D, G, C, F. Go call Fred. Okay, so the flat starts over the F or the B. Flat starts over the B. That means whenever you draw flat, you always start with B flat and you proceed outward. F flat is the last flat you would have if you had 7 flats in your key signature. So that means the sharps start on the F side, and the last sharp that you would have is a B sharp in your key signature if you had 7 sharps. Okay, let's go with the D scale. The D scale has 2 sharps in it. And so which 2 sharps will those be? Hopefully you said F and then C. Okay, do we want to put F sharp here on the first space? Because that's where F is. Hopefully you said no. F sharp always belongs on the top line. Every good boy does fine. And so that's where we're going to put him. And it never belongs on that first space. C sharp is our next one. So instead of putting C sharp directly under, I have to go out to the right, remember. And don't go too far to the right, otherwise you're going to take up a valuable space. So we're going to put them nice, snug in there, and make sure that your C sharp and your F sharp are directly over the line or the space they belong in. Okay, so that's the key of D. And that means that that song that you're singing uses all the notes from the D scale. And the D scale has D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, and D. So all the notes are normal except for F sharp and C sharp. Okay, we're going to go to the B scale now. We have 5 sharps in this scale. So how do we start? We start with F sharp. And then we go again to the next one, C sharp. So it looks just like D, okay? The next one is going to be G. Do I go on the second line? Hopefully you said no. Musicians want to keep things nice and tidy. They want to keep it all in one location. So you see how this is kind of in the upper region of the staff? we always put G sharp right there, and that's above the top line. So every good boy does fine, and then the space above that is G. Let's go to the next one. We've got 3 sharps, we got 2 more. Ooh, I'm running out of room. We go to D. D sharp, I'm going to keep it in the area. Every good boy does. So now I've got 4 sharps, and I have 1 more to go, and I'm going to run into my time signature here. Sorry, Mr. 3-4. And which one is that? A sharp. So I'm going to draw it a little bit out to the right. Notice how, and here's my time signature. I'm going to draw a little bit out to the right. So you see how we keep going out, 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 out to the right as we go. Okay? All right, those were our sharps. And I'm going to keep this here because this is going to be handy to explain the sharp rule in a minute. All right. So what is the flat rule? Do you remember? If I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I've got a B flat, E flat, A flat, how do I find what the name of the key is? Second to the last flat is the key you're in. So second to last flat is the key you're in. So I go B flat, E flat, A flat, right? B, E, A. And then I go, and remember the clef's here. And then this is the one on the outside. And then I go backwards in 1. And so this means I'm in the key of E flat. So the flat rule is what? Second to last flat is the key you're in, or the scale that you have, okay? Then the key of C, remember that simple rule? The key of C means there are what? No sharps and flats in your key signature. 0, none. All right, the key of F, do you remember that one? 1 flat. And the letter F might help you remember flat. So this scale has 1 flat. Remember, if you only have 1 flat, then you can't go to the second to last because there's only 1 person in line, so to speak. So this is the key of F. All right, now we're going to go to the sharp rule. The sharp rule today is involving whole steps and half steps. So if you know whole steps and half steps, it's going to be easy to figure out what the key is that you are in. Okay, so the sharp rule is, what you do is you go to the very last sharp. So here it's going to be a C sharp. And here it's going to be an A sharp. The sharp rule is a half step higher than the last sharp written is the key you're in. A half step higher than the last sharp written is the key you're in. Let me say it again. Half step higher, okay, we're going to go up a half step in a second, then the last sharp written is the key you're in. Now, the important thing you have to remember here is when you name the last sharp, you can't name it, oh, that's a C. It's C sharp. Remember, you have to name it that way. Otherwise, you're going to be wrong with your naming the key. Okay, so half step up from C sharp. Now, if you remember the keyboard, I'm getting kind of cluttered here, excuse me. Let's say this is C, and this is D, and this is E, and F, and I've got my black keys here. Okay, C sharp is this black key. So a half step higher than C sharp is, hopefully you said D. And you know that this is the key of D anyway, right? So I'm in the key of D. Now over here, my key is, my last sharp is A sharp. Okay, so now I'm going to draw a few more keys. Sorry, this is really sloppy. All right, so here's A sharp, and a half step higher would make you jump to B. And we know this is the key of B anyway. Okay, so let's write that down on your notes. See if you can say the sharp rule to me right now. Sharp rule is, hopefully you said, a half step higher than the last sharp is your key. All right, pause me if you need to write that down. A half step higher than the last sharp written is the key you're in. All right, so let's review all of our rules. Here we go. Flat rule. Second to last flat is the key you're in. Key of C, no sharps or flats. Key of F, 1 flat. Sharp rule. A half step higher than the last sharp written is the key you're in. Right? A half step higher than the last sharp written is the key you're in. Okay, I'm going to stand in front of this. Okay, what is the flat rule? Second to last flat is the key you're in. What is the key of C? No sharps or flats. What is the key of F? 1 flat. And what is the sharp rule? A half step higher than the last sharp written is the key you're in. All right, good job. We're going to review this, and please do look at this video at least 2 more times this week just to make sure you get it in your head, and you can even look at some music around your house if you have any and see if you can guess the names of those key signatures. Pretty cool. I'll see you next time.